Right, again, welcome back. I do apologize if there's any technical things that's going on the other end. I am near Chicago, and we're like in the negative. I believe it's about -1 or 4 right now. I think yesterday it was even like -8 or 10. So it's pretty cold here, but that's not going to stop anything. Again, welcome back. For those that have subscribed to my channel already, thank you. If you haven't done so, what are you waiting on? Please do. My name is Shayna, and I am the founder of Catalyst Consulting. I help entrepreneurs, business owners pretty much start and scale their businesses. I've worked with those that have migrated from the idea phase all the way into the scaling phase. I love what I do. And I'm doing a three-part series, and we've talked a little bit about why. If you are a founder operating in survival mode, it's going to be difficult for you to scale and grow. And something that I wish that I learned along the way of scaling and growing my company was the business, understanding business is one thing, business acumen and all of the tips and tricks, nothing, everybody has their own way. So I'm not going to say anything is right and or wrong, but you as a founder, as a leader, it's a little bit challenging because as your company business grow, it only can go and grow as far as you grow. And so I wish that I not wish, because I feel like this is what I've been doing even before starting my own company. I've partnered alongside leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs to help them not just bring clarity to their vision, but execution. And we saw that it wasn't so much of them executing and getting to the next steps and growing, but it was really internal work that we had to do. And so we have to do things, internal work and business work goes hand in hand, and with the alignment and making sure that you're able to scale and grow at the pace that you desire. And so if you are the bottleneck of your company, if you are in the way, you are going to have to really hone in on leads. If a businesses do not have lead generation, and then most importantly, align consistent leads, that is going to affect the predictability and scaling of your company. And there's other internal layers as well. But when I want to invite you to our free mini training that is coming up, we have a couple of different slots open right now. We're running it for a little while, but we're going to talk about how you're able to implement an internal and external system that allows you to have not just predictable, consistent leads within your business, because you need leads. And if you're struggling with figuring out where are your leads, but then having the most aligned leads and a system that's able to manage those leads for you so that you're not the bottleneck and the person is having to make all of the decisions. Because as we talked about before, a lot of things that you may have a blind spot and not be aware of, it can actually affect your company, your team, and your growth and your scalability. And so hopefully from this three-part series, you're able to quickly identify where you may need to readjust and or reassess. And if this is something that you need support with, again, click the link below to join our free training and or connect with me, and I would love to support you through that. And so I did take notes. I do not want to vacillate between the screens because I don't want the connection to go out before I'm able to get through everything. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your revenue may spread. So your revenue is a spread instead of a stack. So we talked a lot about how we want to have compound interest, compound effects, and execution within our company, not just things all over the place. And so if you have more complexity, and when I talk about the complexity, meaning you have multiple different offers that you are trying to sell at one time, if you're trying to sell on multiple different platforms in multiple different ways, and there's not a strategic approach, then we can see how this can it's costing you. And so it's costing you because your energy and time is being supported in multiple different ways. And so therefore, we're not able to compound and be strategic on how you're going to grow. We don't see the compound. We see you actually need our so you're kind of in this place where you say, I need the flexibility just in case something slows down. I need an extra stream, or I need multiple offers because maybe my particular client or my business is not going to scale. Now, when you get this, I'm going to talk a little bit about you want to pay attention to how much your monthly recurring revenue is, right? Where you are with revenue. If you are making less than $20,000 per year, per month, then you may be too complex. You need to anchor into an idea, a methodology, a client, a framework, a structure that's going to get you that, to get you there, right? A lot of the branding, people, the like, know, and trust, people may not know you, what you offer, how you can support them quite yet at that stage. And so we want to hone in on that. And if you are pushing past that $20,000 per month revenue, then things shift a little bit. We may be running into a complexity problem where you may need to identify how can you scale, but importantly, we need to identify where and what will you scale and how will you do it so that you're not burnt out and all over the place. And so I could talk a little bit more about this because it is case to case situations, but just for the sake of this training, I just want us to talk about like the overview, and so that you can have an idea of and able to pinpoint where there may be more complexity in your business structure than you actually need. And then the next, you are still the connective tissue. So you're still the person that is the go-to. Everything still runs through you. And it's not from a leadership standpoint, because most of the time you're carrying the business in your head. You at some point you were the person that pushed your company so far, and you are the person that's going to continue to carry it. But there are some systems and structures that you may need to put in place that you haven't quite made the decision to do so, and so therefore everything is coming through you. And so this causes a major, I have seen it. My client, one of the clients I was just speaking to or speaking with on Friday, and she was like, hey, she's a cosmetologist. She's also an educator. And she was saying how she's getting to a point where it's only so much time she has behind the chair, but that's like the bulk and trunk of her revenue, even though she has others working under her. So we had to shift her business model so that she's able to continue to get clients and serve her clients, but then also her company no longer just focuses on her getting clients and serving her clients, but now how can your company begin to service in a different way? And so we had to talk about that. And so a lot of times we think that it's faster just for me to do it. It's faster for me to figure it out. It's faster for me to fix it. But every time you are taking that approach, that is faster for me, you're responding out of survival. Maybe it's something that you have been used to doing in one season, but it's time for you to shift that. And the way we'll talk about ways that you can shift these mindsets in our last third part series of this. You also, decisions are optimized for term relief, meaning if there's fires, if there's a crisis, if there's something coming up, or if there's a launch you have to plan. This is our reaction. You're saying yes to easy money, possibly. You're saying, hey, I can do that. I can do that. I could take this client. I could take that client. Or maybe even a client is asking you for maybe customized solutions. And so you're like, sure, I could do that. So we're pushing the scope of work. You are avoiding cleaning up things because it feels like when you're making a decision, or you're having to stick to the decisions, because we're human, right? Once we decide to make a change is not easy, but then also now you have to uphold and be consistent with that change. And so sometimes you may find it difficult for you to stick to the plan. And you may feel like you're disrupting things and you're having to start over. And I just want to let you know that that's a good thing. The decisions that you or systems that you started with in your business, it's only going to take you so far. So it's going to feel like every time you shift and or grow, especially if you're in a growth season of your business and not sustaining, it's going to feel like the systems are breaking. They're supposed to. It's like the infrastructure. The infrastructure of a four flat is going to be totally different than the infrastructure of a 20 unit building. It's called growth. And there's some things you cannot avoid, and it's okay. It's not a bad thing. And so you may sometimes even identify what is costing you those temporary spikes. So you're having like this temporary spikes over long-term plateaus, right? And so